This is Paris, the city of love. With its world-famous landmarks such as the Eiffel Tower, it is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world. Over 30 million people flock to the metropolis every year. But deep beneath lurks a labyrinth of death. 20 meters below the ground, the narrow passages of the Paris Catacombs wind their way. But what truly lies behind the myth of the gate to hell? To understand the catacombs, we must travel back almost 1,000 years into the past. To build a city like Paris, with all its impressive structures, one needs large quantities of resources. Building materials like stones, plaster, and clay could be found particularly beneath the Earth's surface at depths ranging from 5 to 35 meters. Quarrying has been taking place since the 12th century in almost all districts of Paris, increasingly moving underground. Over many centuries, a gigantic underground network of tunnels measuring over 300 kilometers in length was created. However, doubts began to arise within the population during the 16th and 17th centuries. People were particularly concerned about the extensive undermining of the city. The often poorly secured underground spaces beneath the city led to a significant weakening of the surface. This resulted in collapses in some areas, causing entire streets to sink rapidly. Consequently, the quarries were closed shortly thereafter and subsequently used as ossuaries. Paris experienced another low point in the 18th century. Due to the already large and continuously growing population, diseases like cholera could quickly spread among the people. Additionally, the underpaid working class suffered from famine and malnutrition. The number of deaths increased so significantly during this time that it led to a dramatic overcrowding of Parisian cemeteries. As a result, the partially decomposed corpses were uncovered shortly after burial to make room for new deceased individuals. The result was catastrophic sanitary conditions in the vicinity of Parisian cemeteries. Reports suggest that during this time, several residents suffocated due to the horrific stench of decomposing bodies, which wafted over from neighboring graves. To avoid further unrest, the cemetery was soon cleared and closed by the authorities. But where could the many dead now be accommodated? The most logical solution was to transfer them to the former quarry, now known as the catacombs. It provided enough space for the immense quantity of corpses and also ensured a safe distance from the population. Through a shaft in Avenue René Coty, the exhumed remains were lowered into the depths and mostly stacked unorganized in long corridors stretching over several hundred meters. With the situation thus normalized, the catacombs were closed and remained unnoticed for the next nearly 20 years. However, during this time, Paris continued to grow steadily, leading to the necessity of new roads and squares. But city planners faced a particular obstacle: cemeteries. To avoid hindering urban planning, these cemeteries were often cleared to create new building space. It didn't take long for new additions to the catacombs to emerge. The responsible architect, Ricard de Thury, introduced a new concept. Instead of stacking the bones in an unorganized manner, he decided to arrange skulls and bones in a decorative manner. Additionally, the passages were adorned with plaques and wooden crosses. Gradually, the catacombs transformed into a museum, which was opened to the public in 1809. Over the time, an estimated 6 million deceased individuals were laid to rest in the depths of Paris. For comparison, today, Paris is home to about 2.2 million people. To this day, the accessible area amounts to just under 2 kilometers. The majority of the over 300 kilometers of tunnels remains inaccessible. One of the reasons for this is the use for utility lines. Additionally, one of the sections houses the gold reserves of the French National Bank. The Paris Catacombs are a fascinating place. To this day, a large part of the underground facilities has not been fully explored. Filmmakers and authors, among others, take advantage of this fact. The catacombs are often depicted as a cursed place in these narratives. However, behind the frequently circulated horror stories of the so-called Gate to Hell lies an extremely interesting and much deeper history.